With less than a week to go before the contract between Northern Light Health and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield expires, the war of words between both sides continues, but they both say they're willing to continue negotiations.
In a letter to Anthem from Tim Dentry, Northern Light Health president and CEO, he says despite Anthem misrepresenting the status of the negotiations, they are ready to continue working toward a solution or a resolution. Dentry says Anthem has made the process difficult not only for Northern Light Health, but also for patients. He says they have dedicated an administrative team to navigate Anthem systems, which he says is a diversion of critical resources.
In response to Dentry's letter, Anthem says they take issue with many of the claims by Dentry, but they see Northern Light's willingness to return to negotiations as a positive step. Anthem says Northern Light previously stated they would not negotiate unless Anthem agreed to a long list of contract demands.
They say they are eager to meet next week with Northern Light to continue the process of reaching a new contract. About 30,000 people in Maine have health insurance through Anthem.
If there is no new agreement effective October 1, Northern Light Health will be out of network with Anthem for physicians and some ancillary services. Hospital-based services and Medicare services will be out of network starting January 1st. You can read the full statements from both parties on our website.